It's an enigma, wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a tortilla shell. It's Ovika, Enigma Goliath. Oh, listen, man, we're going to delve right into it. This is a fascinating, well-designed legend with a hefty mana value, hefty protection, and awesome triggered abilities. We're going on a deep dive, but first, smash the like and subscribe buttons, alright? If you want to support the channel directly, buy me a coffee over at the link in the description. My blood is boiling, my heart is human, and both are slowly being replaced by coffee. Special thanks to Stud McMillionaire, Tyler, Tiffy, and all my kind supporters. The only lore I can find on Ovika comes from the wiki. Unlike the Domini, who emerged from the construction of the Phyrexian spheres, Ovika was born from the remains of Mirrodin after it had been ravaged for building materials by the Phyrexian troops. He built his immense body from the salvage, giving himself all the eyes and limbs he would need to oversee and investigate his fascinating plane. And looking at the art, it looks like a giant organic cell glider or something, with a bunch of eyes and red skeletal arms, real nightmare fuel, and very Phyrexian. I like that it creates these little goblins too. Alright, let's read this big beast. We got Ovika Enigma Goliath, 5 blue and a red for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Nightmare. It's a 6/6 with flying, has ward 3 as well, and ward pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. The first thing I thought about this card was how good it would be in a polymorph deck. Those decks don't run a ton of creatures, maybe 4 to 5 that you want to polymorph into. Polymorph decks use cards like the titular polymorph to kill a token and turn it into one of the few selected creatures. This guy makes his own token, so that would be decent at the helm. The other thing I seized upon when reading this card is how it pays off any non-creature spells. So if you can start casting things for free thanks to cost reducers, Ovika pays that off with a 1/1 hasty goblin. It's really easy to storm off with instants and sorceries, and it's really easy to do that with artifacts as well. About our old friend the Hole Breaker Horror. If you have Soul Ring and another 1 or 0 cost artifact, you can generate infinite mana bopping these in and out. Or if you have Soul Ring and Arcane Signet, which are in basically any deck anyways, you can cast your Soul Ring, right? Tap it for 2 colorless mana, cast Arcane Signet, return Soul Ring to your hand. Tap Arcane Signet for 1 colored mana, cast Soul Ring. Well, that's great. It nets no mana, unfortunately, but Ovika pays that off with a goblin each time. Bunch of goblins, actually, and hasty goblins at that. So should we build into artifacts? That's the question. Well, sure, buddy, let's do it. There are a few key combos that we can go for, but let's first talk about some enablers. We need cost reduction before anything. So we have Enthusiastic Mechanaut, we have Ethereum Sculptor, Foundry Inspector, Herald of Kozilek, Joyra's Familiar, Cloud Key, and Helm of Awakening. These all let us cast our colorless artifacts on the cheap, buddy. One of these is great to have out, but 2 or more and you're in a winning position. And secondly, we're going to want lots of recursion. Daretti Scrap Savant is such a powerful planeswalker, but he doesn't really walk, dude. He doesn't walk to the different planes. He's in a wheelchair, so he's a planeswheeler. Oh man, coming back all the way from the Urza's block, we got Goblin Welder. 1 red mana for a creature, Goblin Artificer. It's a 1/1. It has this pretty convoluted ability, but basically you take an artifact that you control and an artifact card in your graveyard and switch them out. You can do this for any player, but why would you do it for somebody else? I don't know. This thing needs a reprint because it's 20 bucks right now. Pretty sure it'll get one soon, although I don't know. If your stuff gets removed or otherwise put in the graveyard, this guy gets it back. So in addition to Mirror Retriever and Scrap Trawler, we got this guy, Goblin Engineer. 1 in a red for a creature, Goblin Artificer. It's a 1/2. When this guy enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. Has red and tap, sacrifice an artifact. Return target artifact card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is recursion, but it's also a tutor. This can get us a ton of our key pieces. The art is so whack though. I don't know why this guy's lurking, looking up those dudes' kilts. But that dovetails nice into our tutors. So we have several instant and sorcery tutors because sometimes you need to tutor for a tutor. Mystical Tutor and Solve the Equation are awesome cards because they can get us the one we really want, which is usually Fabricate. Fabricate is 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. This can get us one of our combo pieces. That's the point of the whole deck, dude. We gotta get the combo pieces. And we also have Reshape and Whir of Invention. Remember too, Whir of Invention is an instant and it has Improvise, so you can hold up mana and see what happens. Man, then we got this old guy, the Goliath Forge Master. 5 generic mana for an artifact creature construct. It's a 3/5. Has tap, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. The goblins say this used to be larger before it began to stoke the great furnace with pieces of itself. Oh, that's a big genius this guy is. This guy rocks in an artifact deck. Alright, go get your combo pieces, brother. Alright, so what is this magical combo? Well, we need one of our cost reducers on the battlefield, that's the first thing. Then we go get Sensei's Divining Top. So we have this first ability, which I'm not going to read, but the second ability is pretty salient. Tap, draw a card, put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. I mean, this is just a great card in any deck, really, especially an artifact deck. So with one of our cost reducers out, we can cast this guy for free. Woohoo, who cares? That doesn't do anything. Well, I care, buddy. The second ability is wise, so let's just get the top on top, and then what? Well, then you go get your Mystic Forge. 4 generic mana for an artifact. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Whoop-de-doo. You may cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. It has tap, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. So we can cast the top from the top, dude. That's the point. While we're doing that, we're drawing our whole deck. We're also getting more mana rocks and cost reducers, so we can get Ovika out there and pay off this infinite casting of the top. And then we win, right? Yeah, pretty much, but we have to be careful not to draw ourselves out. There are a few wheels in blue that can fold your graveyard and hand into your library like Game Plan. There are others as well, but this is the cheapest money-wise. You know, there are some redundant pieces for Mystic Forge, so we have the Reality Chip and Future Sight, both of which have very similar text to Mystic Forge, although they don't let you just exile a card off the top. But listen, man, we don't want to rely on hasty goblins and 1 or 2 combos, so we're including Impact Tremors and Witty Roastmaster. Say all of our stuff gets blown up, you know, our Sensei's Divining Top gets exiled, we're kind of up a creek. These things will help us stack on the damage as we're casting spells with Ovika out there. These are both secondary win conditions that can pay off our hasty goblins with damage that we can spread around the table. Now you do want to have a nice counter spell suite, right? Because people are going to try to hit your stuff because they're like, uh-oh, he's about to combo off, blah, blah, blah. But you want to back up protection. So 4 or 5 will probably do for the deck. We don't want to have a board out there with no way to protect it. Ovika herself has some pretty decent protection, but that doesn't extend to the rest of the stuff we got going on. Now there are a bunch of artifact lands as well that you can stick in this deck. You probably want to include every artifact land you can because these can be used for sack fodder for Goblin Welder, Goblin Engineer, and Goliath Forge Master. Now if you want to build into instants and sorceries, you could definitely do that with this commander as well. Plus all your little mana rocks are going to trigger it, I guess. They said he, but I'll say it because I don't know, it doesn't look like a he, dude. There are a million ways to go infinite with a card like this. Free spells like Treachery combo with Capsize and 1 instant and sorcery cost reducer. Overall, very fun, interactive commander that can combo out on turn 5 or 7. I think this guy's super cool because he pays off all of our infinite combo shenanigans. I mean, if you're not netting any mana, you're basically casting spells over and over again. I mean, this thing's going to pay it off. You're going to get a bunch of hasty goblins, dude. Plus, he's got a hang glider for a head, so he doesn't have to pay for extra bags. And listen, man, this is an important little PSA for all the dudes out there and ladies and whoever else. I was at my job the other day and I was talking about this very channel, and the guy I was talking to was like, hey man, that's really cool. It's awesome that you're doing this stuff. Magic's amazing, and you know, that's great, brother. And then some little goober walks up and says, oh, you guys are such nerds. Folks, listen, it's so important to just like what you like. If you like anime or magic or gaming or PS5 or whatever it is you like, own it. Dismiss any small-minded fool who says otherwise. You are the one who's got to live with yourself. You don't want to like what other people like. You want to like what you like. Just do whatever you want to do. Sneaky G from Better Commander signing off.